He will be talking about large language model in advertisement. Actually, I believe in this today call, we will have Dr. Abdullah Karar. Welcome to this talk, Dr. Abdullah.
Hello, thank you very much. Welcome. It's good to see you all, and Dr. Yahya as well, Dr. Babak, and Dr. Leila. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining. Actually, our webinar series is supported by UC Berkeley, AUM, in Kuwait, that Dr. Abdullah joined us in this regard, and also deeplearning.ai. Welcome, everyone. Actually, I would like to ask Dr. Yahya to go ahead and introduce our presenter.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning. Good to see you all. Pleasure being with you, and thanks, Babak, Dr. Babak, joining us for today's. And Babak, Dr. Babak received his PhD in computer science from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, one of the top computer science universities in the US. He then joined Silicon Valley and had a long journey, a successful journey in startups. He has started with some startup, then joined a startup called Solvi. Solvi, I think it was 7-8 years ago, started, and they got the idea to develop a automated call center using the AI, a chatbot just answered calls and just in a call center. It was very successful project, Solvi. And recently, Solvi acquired by Zoom. The Zoom that we are using, Zoom acquired the Solvi, and they got a good chance, good exit. Before just Solvi be going to be acquired, Babak joined with another colleagues. They also started a new company. This is the Intellipse. He may say the right pronunciation, and it was a very successful company again. I think it is acquired too about these advertisement and things like this. So I think Babak is going to deliver a talk about how we can use generative AI and these large language models in advertisements and how we can have a good marketing model. So, yeah, we can look over his journey is also very amazing and also very lesson learning how they went through all these challenges in Silicon Valley and brought success. Thank you, Babak. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. And thank you, Deep Learning, supporting this event. Also, American University of the Middle East and UC Berkeley. We are all together to have and also PhazeRo. I have to say, PhazeRo, Masood, and Leila, you are amazing. And we are very proud of all of you. I'm very proud of all of you. And okay, I think it's a very good point of connection, and we can do a lot of things in the region. Thank you so much, Babak. Leila, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Yahya. Dr. Babak, we can't wait for your talk.
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking the time and joining this call and listening about the story. As Dr. Tabish said, I'm going to talk about Intellipse, a startup we started in 2018 and we got acquired in 2022. We mainly focused on marketing tech and advertisement, as the title of the talk suggests. So let's start. A quick intro of Intellipse and myself. The company was founded in May 2018. We got seed investment from Gradient Ventures, which is backed by Google. It's a new venture from Google, only focused on AI-first companies, and mainly focused on seed investment. And also, we got another round of seed stage funding from Decibel Ventures, which is also a new VC in Silicon Valley focused on founders helping founders. The founding team of Intellipse was Mehdi Samadi, who is also who was also the CTO and founder of Solvi that Dr. Tavish talked about. He got his PhD in computer science from CMU, focused on AI, and I was also an early engineer and a tech lead at Solvi. And I got my PhD in CS from University of Illinois. We got together and started discussing the idea of applying AI to marketing, and I'll tell you all about the journey that we had in these 4 years. And quick intro about myself, as Dr. Tavish said, I got my bachelor's in computer science from Sharif University, my PhD from computer science from University of Illinois, and I joined a small startup called Altiscale after I finished my PhD in Silicon Valley. My focus was mostly high performance computing and big data. And so it was a great company. After I worked there for about 1.5 years, it got acquired by SAP, the big German corporation. I worked there for a while, but I liked startups more, so I joined Solvi and wanted to focus more on AI. So at Solvi, we focused on AI for customer service. Again, a very good company, great traction, grew to around like 80 people, and then Zoom acquired us. And then in 2018, as Dr. Tavish said, Mehdi wanted to start a new venture applying AI for marketing. And so I joined him and we started Intellipse, and in 2022, we got acquired by Mutiny. So the focus of the talk and the outline is I give you a quick overview of Intellipse, our thesis and vision, what we were thinking at the beginning, and how it evolved over time. I briefly talk about the platform we built because I believe there are a lot of technical people in this call, and this talk should have some technical aspects to it. So I'll talk a little bit about the technical parts of the company and our tech stack. And then I focus on 2 main problems that we tackled and how large language models and AI can help completely revolutionizing both of these problems. One is lead generation and the other one is content generation. So the overview of the company was we actually did 2 pivots during these 4 years. The original idea that we started in 2018 and we got the seed round funding from Gradient Ventures was we wanted to build an AI assistant that sits on the website of our customers. And so we knew that we are going to work on AI for marketing. Marketing tech in general is a very hard space for startups to enter, mainly because there is a lot of competition and there's just a lot of players in this market. So as you know, it gets separated into B2B, business to business, or B2C. We focused on B2C marketing, mainly on e-commerce. And I'll talk a lot about how the state of the e-commerce is in this talk. Our focus was building an online AI assistant. We wanted to be mobile first because we realized that a lot of people are now doing their shopping online on their web browsers. And in general, as I said, B2C marketing and in general marketing is very integration heavy. Again, because there is a lot of players in this market, you have to build integration with email marketing platforms, SMS marketing platforms, and all their other data. The data of the customers can come from different platforms. Their CDP, customer data platforms, and so you have to build a lot of integrations. And another thing that we learned in this era was having free conversation on the website is very hard. You can't have customers actually starting chatting with you, especially on mobile on the website. And that's when we pivoted in 2020 to SMS marketing. So we thought that it's better to actually perform these conversations over SMS rather than online. And so we tried to build a human-centric SMS marketing platform, and that's where the lead generation and content generation problem became very important for us. We also worked a lot on building SMS campaigns, both automations and campaigns, so that our customers could send blasts of SMSs to their customers. But the main thing for us was you need to utilize AI to increase revenue and launch targeted campaigns rather than just spamming people. I still believe that there is definitely a big gap in this market to use AI and use a smarter targeting and campaigns in order to have better experience for your customers and not just keep spamming them, but also have a better revenue for your company. And then in 2022, when we realized that LLMs and GPT and all these large language models are coming, we actually focus more on the conversational aspects of these SMS marketing rather than just the campaigns. In general, what we saw that was that SMS became also a commodity channel similar to email. So all the marketing platforms were adding SMS, and for us it was very hard to compete with these big email marketing companies. So we mainly focused on our differentiator, which is AI, and I'll talk about how we were using large language models and AI. So the thesis and vision, talking a little bit about the e-commerce space, which is B2C marketing. You on one hand, you have awareness and acquisition, basically all the ad money that you spend on telling people about your brand and bringing them to the website. In the middle, you have the stores, like as you probably have heard, Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento. These are the big online e-commerce platforms. And then on the right side, once you get these customers and they once buy from your brand, you have their email address, you have their phone number, and so you can start having retention and referral solutions, but also they may have questions, so you have customer service solutions like Gorgeous and Customer. What we are going to focus on in this talk and in general in our company was that the paid channels, Facebook's, Google's, Instagram, are definitely used a lot by marketers to increase the awareness and acquisition for their customers. But once you actually pay these ad money and you bring customers to the website, you lose a lot of people on the website. So you are actually losing money on your ads if you don't do a good job on actually turning these people who are on your website into your leads or customers. Especially, this is even a bigger problem as customer acquisition cost or CAC is increasing a lot. There's also issues with privacy by some platforms like Apple iPhone that can cause even harder problems for you to actually have a better ad performance. And as I said, SMS is also becoming a big channel for brands to actually be in touch with the customers. So we mainly, after we saw this area, we realized that it's very important to go after having a direct channel to your customer and start having conversations with your customers for the brands in order to keep them engaged or bringing them back to the website instead of paying a lot of money on that. However, if you look at the customer relationship management, this is the current state. So most of the time in these customer relationship management softwares, you have to build like a big tree of what happens. So there is a bunch of triggers. Let's say someone subscribed to your newsletter, then you have these kinds of condition splits, like if is the person, for example, female or male. Based on female, send this email first, then wait for 3 days, then send this other email, and then wait for 4 days, and then send the other email. And what this reminded us, as you can see, there may be some intelligence at node level. For example, there's a lot of A/B testing technologies applied to what kind of email should I send in order to get better response or get better click rates or click-through rates. However, the intelligence is only applied at node level. And what this reminded us a lot was actually in self-driving cars. If you look back in like 2007, this is a decision tree for like doing a maneuver by a car, by a self-driving car. And this is very similar to what the current state of the art in marketing tech is. There is just a lot of human intelligence applied to these decision trees, and you never update these decision trees. You don't know what the user is thinking, what was the user journey, and so it's smart, but it's not as smart as it can be. As we know, in self-driving car now, everything is end-to-end based on machine learning and end-to-end learning. So you get a lot of data, you do perception and localization, you do some planning, and then you, based on the data that you get for these driving for the driving for these cars, you train an end-to-end autonomous driving model that knows when to stop, when to go, and when to turn. And so this was the main thesis and vision that we had, that in order to build a one-on-one relationship with customers at scale, you have to build the ML-centric customer interaction platform. You can't just build these kinds of decision trees and then try to apply machine learning at each node level. It has to be ML-centric, and it has to be more focused on like end-to-end problem rather than just a single node problem. However, if you still, another observation is that if you look at, for example, lead generation, there is just, if you go to e-commerce stores, this is, for example, one of our customers called Natural, that were selling shampoos online. As soon as you go to their website, you get bombarded by these, give me your phone number, or give me your email address, get 10% off. Let's keep in touch, these kinds of dialogues. And then once they give you, once you give your phone number to these brands, they use these SMS marketing platforms or email marketing platforms to just keep spamming you, and they just send you so many emails. These are just a bunch of screenshots from our own messaging platforms. You can see that we keep getting these emails. I'm sure you have also keep getting these SMSs. I'm sure you have also experienced something like this. If you respond with, let's say, I have got this product already, they just say, thanks for texting us, please respond with service for assistance. And so there is definitely, as you can see, there is definitely room for improvement here. This is another company in marketing tech called Repeat. And all they do is they basically just try to remind you that you have bought this, let's say, hydrant or shampoo. And then after, they kind of predict how long will it take for that shampoo to run over. And then after, like, let's say a month, they send you another message, are you ready for another one? And still the focus is just, use very little AI, or maybe just some regression models or something, or just maybe even like static estimation of how much each product will be used for, and then send a message to the users without even seeing what was the main use case for them, how you can help them. So our thesis number 2 was, in order to build that one-on-one relationship with customers, you have to have two-way conversations with them instead of just keep sending one-way spamming messages to them. And mainly based on these theses, we built this vision of we want to build the first truly autonomous e-commerce customer interaction platform that engages all customers via one-on-one personalized conversation. So let me just quickly give you a little bit of overview of the platform, and then we will get into the deep dive into the details of that lead gen problem and content generation. So the platform that we built had like 4 main components. The intelligence, so you can do a lot of machine learning and a lot of AI in marketing, as you can say. So as you can see, for example, you can do profile prediction based on machine learning models. For example, how much is the conversion probability of a customer? You can do generation of the content using machine learning. As you know, large language models is really good at generating content. You can even do like timing of when is the best time for me to reach out to a person. You can do site traffic clustering in order to know what kind of patterns do I have based on the behavior of the users on the website. You can do SMS content, again, generated by AI, but also figure out what kind of messages are actually performing better for what kind of patterns on my website. You can do e-commerce order analysis and prediction. Similar to that Repeat example that I had, you can actually predict when is the right time for a specific product to be advertised to a customer. You can do natural language user for SMS intent. If you are receiving a message, what is the intent of this message, and what is the customer thinking about, and why are they sending this message? You can also even do dialogue suggestion for your operators, for example, to know how to reach out to people. So that's on the intelligence side. On the e-commerce integration, I mentioned that in marketing tech, there is just so many integrations required. So we built a Shopify app because we mainly focus on Shopify. It's a huge market for B2C platforms selling things online. But there's also, you have to build integration with your email marketing, because your marketers want to send these SMSs also based on in coordination with the emails they send. You also need to build integrations with SMS marketing, and you also need to build integrations with customer data platforms in order to know all the information about each customer before sending them a message. On the core side, we had an event streaming subsystem, a customer profiling building using this CDP. We had a JavaScript widget that sits on the website. Everything was based on Kubernetes and auto scaling. And then we obviously had real-time monitoring and alerting to make sure that our services are always up. And then on the SMS platform side, I mentioned briefly, but we had to build automations and campaigns in order for customers to, let's say, if there is a holiday season and they want to send a message for like a promotion they have, they had to be able to do that. And also on SMS side, especially in United States, there is very hard compliance rules that you have to follow. For example, marketing messages should not be sent after like 6 p.m., I believe, or 7 p.m. Local time for those customers, and also before 8 a.m. And if you don't follow these rules, you may get into compliance issues. And so we had to build a full suite of opt-in, opt-out. If a user or customer just replies a stop, you have to respect that, and you can't send them any messages anymore. Just to give you some stats, in 2020, we were profiling around like 32 million customer profiles, and in 2021, about 50 million. So the scale is, as you can see, it's not a very small scale company, but also it's not like as big as like very, very big marketing tech companies. So we were in the range of like medium-sized customer base. Small to medium size, I would say. And then in terms of messages that we sent and received, around 7 million and 18 million messages. And the programming languages we were using on the front end side was React and TypeScript. And then on the back end, for web and APIs, we were using Node.js and GraphQL. And for backend machine learning and data analysis, mainly Python, and also open source machine learning libraries. A lot of integrations with large language models as well. On the infrastructure side, we were using Google Cloud Platform. As I mentioned, we were seeded. Our seed funding was done by Google, so we got a lot of credit from them. So Google Cloud Platforms, Kubernetes Engine, PostgreSQL for the database. We used Kafka for the event stream a lot, and Redis a lot for caching. This is the overview, high-level overview of the platform we built. I'm not going to get too much into the details of the architecture, but I'll save some time for at the end for getting into the details if people are interested in the technical side of it. But you can see that at some point you have the subscribers, users. We use Twilio to send messages to them. All the messages were being sent through message queues through Kafka. On one side, you have marketers and AI operators to use your dashboard to actually give you feedback or create content or approve some content or create a campaign or look at the analytics of how the platform is doing. In the middle, we have the database, and then we have a bunch of APIs for SMS, dashboard, lead generation, and integration. We had a big layer of intelligence for conversational AI, lead gen. And then on the right side, you have Shopify or like website visitors that go through the online platform. So I'm going to continue. I don't think I can follow all the things on chat, but Leila, please interrupt me if there is anything you wanted me to.
Sure, I'll do that.
All right, thanks. So I'm going to talk about the lead generation, which was the first problem I mentioned. This is by itself. There is a lot of startups focused mostly on just lead generation for marketing tech, and it's a very interesting problem. So the main problem is, as you know, let's say this is a Shopify sales funnel, but you can actually look at it as for any kind of online store or online e-commerce platform. You have the visitors on top. A lot of people come to your online shop. And then some of these people, let's say they take a quiz or you capture their contact somehow through a pop-up. these group of people become your subscribers. They have subscribed to you, but they have not purchased anything. And then some people, either subscribers or those visitors directly, can buy from your brand, and they will become your shopper. And then, actually shopper is when they go through the sales funnel, and then when they actually buy, they become this buyer. And some of these buyers are actually repeated buyers, so they buy again. And at the end of the funnel, you have some people who are really interested in your brand, and they become your brand ambassador. Lead generation problem is actually this side. So how can I turn a visitor into a lead or subscriber? There are a lot of interesting problems you can ask in the lead generation problem. We can always have this framework of who, what, how, and when. So who should I target? Who should I show this content to? And what kind of features, let's say, in terms of machine learning, should I use in order to find who is the best person to show this message to? What should I show, right? What kind of message is it? Should I show a quiz, let's say, or should I show just a regular message, or should I show a 10% discount? And you can actually have custom lead generation SMS and MMS responses based on the questions that they answered. Let's say I'll show some of the examples of these in the future slides, but let's say if they do a quiz and based on the answers they provide, you can actually give them some value based on those answers, send them some, let's say specific response based on those answers. How is basically, do you want to pop up in the middle, or should it look like a small dialogue on the left-hand corner if it's a desktop, or bottom of the screen if it's mobile? And or should it be embedded inside the website? I'll show you some examples of this. And then when is basically, what's the best time to send this, to show this message to the user? A lot of these platforms are just, they have static rules of after 5 seconds on the website, just show this message. And users are trained to, as soon as they see these pop-ups, they go and close them. So you can do a lot smarter rather than just after 5 seconds on the website, just pop up with a big model on your website. What I mean by pop-up is literally these examples. So I'm sure you have seen on online stores, you see these kind of on like 15% off. On mobile, they look more like this. This is a pop-up. This one is more like widget. And on desktop, you did have these widgets either on left bottom or right bottom most of the time. Right bottom mostly is focused on like chats, and then left bottoms are mostly for showing you a message. And then there are different modes that you can implement. At Intellipse, we implemented all of these, but this one on the left one is called action button. If it shows it, we call it bar. It can pop up it can increase the size, and we call it max mode, and then it can even get bigger, and we call it open mode. On mobile, it looks kind of the same. We built a drawer widget that it shows you some like a title like quiz, find the watch band that's right for you. And then if you click on it, it opens up in this maximum mode, and then it shows you more content. And then based on what content you click on, it can actually open all the way up to show you some images and show you a quiz, for example. Another one that worked very well for our customers were actually embedded quizzes. I believe the main reason that these worked well is because, again, customers are trained to close these pop-ups very quickly. If you just quickly show them these pop-ups, they may not even be interested, or even they may not even be familiar with your brand. So what we did was we actually embedded these kinds of quizzes inside the website, and there was like a link of like quiz. And we saw a lot of visitors actually going to the quiz page as they were exploring your brand and actually performing the quiz. And the way that these quizzes work is they ask you a couple of questions. This is great because you get a lot of information about this visitor. And then at the end, they have to provide an email address or a phone number in order to get the response of the quiz. And that way you turn those visitors into a lead for your brand. The way that we built all these different ways of popping up, and the ML model on it is shown in this architecture. Again, not getting into the details, but marketers using our dashboard could design all of these kinds of lead generation strategies, and they could just configure what kind on which page, what is the content, when to show up. And then, they were getting stored on the data. And then we had an AI-assisted lead generation platform. It was like a classifier-based trainer to actually predict what is the likelihood of a conversion for a customer in order to be able to choose who to show the message to, and also what time to show the message to. And then when the website visitors going to the website, there was this JavaScript library that we implemented in React, and that JavaScript library was in charge of calling machine learning and AI lead generation API backend to actually figure out, is this the right time to show up or not? What kind of content should I show up or not? And who should I show this message to? So that's how we tackled this end-to-end problem of lead generation using an ML-centric platform. And on the content generation side, we call this project Convo. So we talked about lead generation, but what if you actually have some buyers and some subscribers? You can actually always send messages to them and engage with them again, see how they are feeling, how do they like the product, and also bring them back to actually make them repeat buyers. And so the problem of content generation relies on lower part of the funnel, but it's an important one because you already have some customers, and you can always bring them back to the website and advertise to them and bring and sell them your newer products or some other products. Again, this framework of what and how and who and when applies to content generation as well. What and how is more on the content side. So what should I send to the message? And in order to build a good what content generation problem, you have to actually use technology to actually know a lot about the brand. What are the products they are selling? What is the information about each of these products? And there is actually a lot of data. For example, if you look at Shopify, it's a very rich platform about every information about your products, how users are buying it, all the information about the products are already out there. But there is also a lot of unstructured data, like all the FAQs and content on the website, and also on like social media. A lot of these brands use Instagram, and there is tons of questions from users and answers from the companies. So you can actually capture a lot of these contents both on a structured and unstructured way for your knowledge base to be used by AI. And then on the audience side, so who and when, there's also a lot of stuff on that you can use. For example, in Shopify, again, if you look at the customers' information, all these quizzes they have answered, all the data that they have about your in the customer data platforms, like how many times they have visited this website, what kind of orders they have had, what was the frequency of these orders. You can, if you have this data, then you can start predicting some usage patterns in order to predict when is the best time to send a message to this user. We can predict also the usage pattern of each product. So, let's say if you're selling shampoo and you know that this, based on the size of shampoo, this has to be run out after like a month. That's the pattern for the product, but you can also, based on the usage of the customers and how frequent they're ordering, you can also predict some patterns there. And then you can identify high drop risk customers. You can identify segments and of customers who share the specific characteristics and run a campaign for them. And you can also identify cross-sell opportunities. If I have sold these two products to a person, they may be interested in this third product. The way that we looked at it is, as I mentioned, you have these channels on top, like customer relationship management, conversation on either SMS or chat, website itself. We were thinking at some point you can, and I think this will happen in future, that websites will be personalized based on users who are on the website instead of just a static website that is shown to users. Currently, there is a lot of like in node level intelligence, like A/B testing of my headline, but eventually maybe websites will be completely redesigned using these newer generative AI technologies. It's not hard to see this happening soon in future, that websites are going to be personalized for each person. Think about it in a physical store. You go to a store and suddenly everything changes based on all the information that we have you. I think it can definitely happen in e-commerce. And then Convo was in charge of the AI and ML models, the content that it captures from the platforms, but also sent to the user. There is a very important layer here called governance. You have to make sure that you're not sending, especially these large language models, as you know, are sometimes generating unfactual or wrong messages, content. And so you have to make sure that you are not making a mistake there. And then audience on the left side. And then the platforms themselves are all these things that I mentioned. Online content, customer service platforms can have a big role here because you have a lot of content from talking to customers already. So let's dive a little bit into this middle layer. On the audience side, you can do a lot of interesting things. So you can, for example, suggest segments of customers to marketers automatically, or intelligent reach out timing, which I have already mentioned. On the content generation side, you can definitely assist copywriting in outbound messages. And you know that large language models are really good at it. Individualized, or these messages can be individualized and targeted. So for example, this is an example of a message that was generated by large language models for our customer, mainly based on looking at the profile of the customer. So, hey name, thanks for choosing the brand. We are glad you're enjoying your purchase. Our team works hard. It's a very interesting message, completely generated by AI. However, one thing that we definitely saw a lot at our company is marketers want to be in charge, and they want to make sure that the content generated by AI is appropriate and approved. So our solution for that was, instead of always just relying on AI to write a message and immediately send it to customers, we were actually generating the content in advance using this content generation layer, and then add them to a content library for the marketers to come and approve. So we wouldn't send a message directly generated by AI, but add them to a library and then ask the brand to actually approve them. And then on top of those, let's say you have a template, library of content templates. What you can do is still getting some profile of the user. You can ask AI to actually personalize it. So on this screenshot, you can see that, for example, this profile, Richard, they had 2 orders, Ambassador Bundle and Blood Orange Mint, on these dates. And then we also had a lot of metadata about them, like based on the quizzes that they have answered. For example, they said they want to purchase these drinks when they are getting together with friends. They are interested in a citrus flavor, and they care about health. And so just giving these information about this user, orders and metadata, and the template, AI generated this message. Hey, Richard, we noticed you're a big fan of citrus flavors. You can see that it gets the citrus. So we wanted to let you know about our Hopical citrus kombucha. It's a delicious and refreshing combination of organic Cascade and Simcoe hops and fresh fruit. We think you'll love it. And we are offering free shipping with code YASHIP. So why not give it a try? Cheers, John Sean. And I think this is amazing because you are now personalizing every message that was just previously from an old template written by a marketer like 3 years ago, based on person's interest, person's orders, and the information that you have about your brand. On top of that, you can also perform actions. As you remember, one of our thesis was that this SMS and conversational e-commerce should be two-way. Especially on SMS, it's very easy to receive messages. And we actually were receiving a lot of messages from the customers of our customers. So you can perform a lot of action on these messages. First, you can check if this message is safe. What is the sentiment of this message? What is the profile of this person? If they are doing any action, like they want to add something to their cart, you can actually easily, using AI these days, get that action and then perform that action for them. As I mentioned, governance is very important. So you have to do both fact check and safety check on both incoming messages and outgoing messages. So in this case, for example, we received a message that was not very safe, and the large language model was actually showing us that this is an unsafe message. And yeah, so if you put these all together, you basically get a tech stack for this combo product, which was the conversational AI content generation. You have the audience and content at the data layer, and then you have all these components that I talked about at the middle layer for AI and ML, and then you do governance on top of it. Just a couple of hard problems that I think that are still not, some of them are definitely not solved yet, is how do you stick to factual information? As you know, large language models are not great at that. How do you want to do that to make sure that you're not sending something wrong? We had a lot of examples of large language models making up a product, for example, that did not even exist in the product catalog of the store. How to follow brand voice. This is a very interesting one. We started looking into fine-tuning large language models so that, because marketers, one of the issues they always bring up is they have a specific brand voice that they always write their blogs on, even the content on the website, all their Instagram, social media posts are using that kind of voice. And large language model voice may not be very similar to that voice. So how do you make sure that what you are generating is actually following that brand voice is an interesting problem. How to ensure the safety of the models, make sure that you are not saying something unsafe, and also how to hold the conversation. These are getting much better these days with larger context windows by large language models, but still, how do you have a long dialogue with customers by AI? This is the big conversational AI architecture that we built for this product, very similar to the architectures that I have shown before. On one hand, you have the subscribers using Twilio to send them messages. We definitely forwarded a lot of the messages that were coming into our platform, and AI didn't want to respond or couldn't respond to Gorgeous and Zendesk, which are the customer service solutions. And then on the right side, you have the Shopify for the actual customer data, and also Segment for all the customer, so all the other metadata about the customers. And then in the middle, we have all the components that I talked about. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions or any other discussion. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Babek. It was a great presentation. We enjoyed a lot. Actually, we have one question in the chat. Botek, if I'm not mistaken, ask about what is the pixels tracking.
Yeah. That's a great question. I believe he is talking about probably this JavaScript library. Yeah. Feel free to write in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah, pixel tracking in general. So when you want to add your product to a website, one easy way is you build a JavaScript library, and a lot of even ad platforms like Google and Facebook do this. That you basically just have this JavaScript library and you install it on your website by just adding that JavaScript into your website. And as soon as that JavaScript is loaded, it can start sending information to your backend servers. And we definitely did this here as well. Our JavaScript library was actually two-sided. So not only it was capturing events about visitors, but also it was showing pop-ups and all these lead generation stuff that I was talking about. So it was both used for lead generation, but also for event tracking. When you're saying how can I use it in marketing, so I think marketing tech is a lot about like, pixel tracking or like adding these kinds of, if you give us more details about recommendation system. Sure. Okay, yeah. So I think I answered Vatek's question, and then now Waheb is saying if you give us more details about recommendation system and algorithms used collaborating filtering. So in this context, let me think about what's the best way to talk about recommendation. So yeah, okay, I think this is one way to discuss it. So okay, I'll talk about clustering after that. But anyway, let me talk about recommendation in two ways. On the lead generation side, if you look at, for example, this screenshot, you can see that we are showing 3 content on in this like max mode, or in this case we have like two content. One is a quiz and one is get 30% off. The way to come up with the so first of all, these 2 messages are actually coming from like a content of 50, let's say, messages that we can show online. And so your machine learning algorithm has to pick, let's say, 2 or 3 out of those 50 that is most relevant, that it thinks it's most relevant to this user. And that's where the recommendation system or collaborative filtering, for example, is getting important in this case. How do I pick, let's say, top 3 content that the marketer has approved or created in my system and show it to the user based on the user profile? We actually, personally at Intellipse, we didn't use collaborative filtering. You probably saw it somewhere, but we were all using online learning. Online learning is more like, instead of like for lead generation, we believed it's a better algorithm. It's a group of algorithms. Basically, instead of training a classifier, you based on the feedback that you are getting from users, you change the ranking of these, and you basically have success and failure for each of the content on the website, and then you based on those stats about each of the content, you pick which one. And online learning is a very important topic in ad targeting in general. So even if you look at like the way that ads are being chosen to be shown to visitors, they are all using online learning, because training and offline learning, training a machine learning model doesn't work very well at that scale because you keep getting feedback, and so you have to keep running and training your algorithm, your classifiers, in order to be at the latest version of the feedback that you get, and it doesn't work very well. So online learning is what's used in this section a lot. And then Milad asked, if you want cluster user profile data, how do you do it? That's a good one. I believe I had it somewhere. Yeah. Site traffic ML clustering algorithm. So we worked on this for a couple of months. So it really depends on what kind of data you have and how you capture the data. The way that we were capturing the data using that JavaScript widget that I just talked about was literally everything that the visitors were doing on the website. So a session is started, meaning they came to the website. And then the pages that are being loaded, the homepage obviously is loaded first, and then what pages do they go through? All the clicks they were doing on the website were being captured by our JavaScript library. All the, let's say, images that were being shown, even like on the mobile, we were even capturing the swipes and like even zoom in, zoom out. We even took it to the next level by also even sending events about like if they are spending more than 5 seconds on a specific section of the website, send the text of that part. These are called viewport. Send the text of the viewport to the backend, so that we know that they spent like 5 seconds on this, so they're probably reading it. And so once you capture all these events, you have a big library of all these events, and then you can start thinking about how do I how do I build features based on all this data that I have, and then how do I cluster this data. But in general, clustering, at least in our case, you can, obviously you have data, you can cluster it, but the main problem arises when you want to see, okay, what does this cluster mean? How is it different from this cluster? Why did the algorithm decide to pick, to divide these two clusters? And trying to understand the meaning of these clusters is actually not an easy problem. I have a question about the profile prediction. Is it possible that it misclassified? Yes. Yeah, that's a good question. So the way that we were doing profile prediction on top is it definitely is making mistakes in general. So the way that we were doing it was, again, capturing all these events that I just mentioned. You have like a profile from this visitor. You know what kind of websites, what kind of pages they went through, what clicks they did, what what text did they read. And then at the end, you can have a label of did this person purchase or not, converted or not, right? And so that's going to be your label, and you have a big feature set. You can always train a classifier to learn what kind of people with what kind of feature set are converting and what kind are not converting. There is always an accuracy and like precision and recall problem here. So you obviously won't be able to train a model that 100% accurately predicts if a person is going to purchase or not, but you can get those. I think our accuracy was around 70%, is 75%. So it's not very easy to predict very accurately. But in order to, how can we handle misclassified? It's not like a big deal, because the way that we were using this conversion probability was actually deciding whether I should pop up right now or not, right? And if it's misclassified, it will show it, and the user will close the visitor the pop-up. But our goal was to have the most. At some point, we were even calling ourselves a customer engagement platform. So our goal was to increase the probability of the most engagement from the users, right? And so, yeah, you can make mistakes, but then your engagement will go down. Sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I believe we already covered all questions in the chat, but chatless actually. Is there any other question? Actually, Dr. Abdullah.
Can I say a comment?
Sure, please.
Okay, before maybe the final word goes by Dr. Abdullah, but I have to say, Babak, thank you, Babak. It was very illuminating, and I think the model you presented, we can use it for content generation, in also learning, in online learning as well. But I have to say, Babak is also a fellow at UC Berkeley. Leila is a collaborator with UC Berkeley, and we are partnered with American University of the Middle East in Kuwait. So we all together have a lot of potential with PhazeRo, with Kuwait, in Oman. And so we can think about doing much more, I would say, advanced projects in the region. So this is what I see, and we should work on it. So, and with the good students of the AUM also, we have a lot of potential to go forward and doing very good projects for the region, and also of course we can expose them in the Silicon Valley. So we have a good opportunity. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And Dr. Abdullah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Babak. Great presentation. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great presentation. Thank you so much. Also, as this event is supported by deeplearning.ai, you will receive a promo code after the event, which you will have 50% discount on the courses which will be provided by deeplearning.ai on Coursera. Please don't miss that promo code, and thanks for attending this presentation and stay with us up to end. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.